Cardio won't help you lose fat, and after spending years studying exercise, I still see this blatantly wrong information being spread. Most people believe that running on a treadmill for hours will melt the fat away, or that there's this specific fat melting intensity zone. But what if I told you that could be the very reason why you're struggling to lose fat? There's something you're missing, and it could be the key to finally seeing the results that you've been working so hard for. So stick around, because what I'm about to reveal to you will change the way you approach fat loss forever. First things first, we need to understand what cardio is to know why it doesn't matter when it comes to fat loss. All cardio is exercise that increases your heart rate and it increases your respiratory rate. There are two main things that this does. One is it burns calories when we do it, burns energy. And two, the physiological change that we are driving by doing cardiovascular exercise is that we are increasing the mitochondrial density in our body and our muscles, which then makes our muscles more efficient and able to sustain exercise for longer periods of time, which just means an increase in endurance. Now, you may have heard somewhere that there's this specific fat melting cardio zone, or that cardio in general is good for fat loss, but that's just not true. There are specific zones of cardio that do burn more fat, but this isn't fat in the sense of body fat or adipose tissue stored on your body. This is muscle triglycerides and plasma-free fatty acids, which just means fats in your blood and fats in your muscles. These are things already in circulation. They are not being taken from your body fat. And burning them, it will not have anything to do, it will not make any change to the amount of fat stored on your body. And there is not a single type of cardio or exercise in this world that will change the amount of fat on your body, because it has nothing to do with it. Now, the thing is, it doesn't directly impact fat loss, but it can be used as a tool to help in another way. But the thing is, cardio is very inefficient to be used in a fat loss context. And again, there is no direct impact on body fat. The tool that cardio can be used for is to burn calories, but roughly 5% of your daily calories that you burn come from planned exercise, which means that 95% of the calories you burn every day come from just existing. So planned exercise is a relatively low leverage way of burning calories, and it's a lot of effort and a lot of time for a relatively small payoff. Now, let's get into how fat loss works. Since we're already on the topic of calories, it's important to first understand what calories are and how they impact fat loss. And to be completely honest, calories are one of, if not the most important things when it comes to fat loss. There's really three main things that we're looking for when we're doing a diet specifically for fat loss. But if you don't understand them, it's gonna make fat loss very hard. All calories are is a unit of energy, and we get this from food that we eat. And they play an important role in determining what our weight is. So depending on how many calories you eat, you could either lose weight, you could maintain your weight, or you could gain weight. And out of those three options, there's only two where it is a possibility to lose fat. And that is if you are eating at that maintenance calories, or if you are in a caloric deficit. If you are in a caloric surplus and you're eating more calories than you need, you are going to put on fat regardless, because you're eating more food than you need each day. So there is a surplus of energy that needs to get stored somewhere. And the other examples in maintenance, with certain criteria, you can make fat loss happen. And when you're in a caloric deficit, you're eating less calories than you need each day. So your body has to pull energy from tissue that you have on your body. So that could be fat, that could be muscle, and those are typically the two main ones that will get lost. But controlling your calories isn't going to be enough to make sure that fat loss is going to be the priority of your body. And this is where nutrition comes into play, and more specifically, your macronutrients. There are three main macronutrients: protein, carbs, and fats. If your goal is to lose fat, you are going to want to place an emphasis on eating enough protein. Because if you don't, you're not going to be providing your body with the resources it needs to maintain or grow your muscles. And if your body doesn't have the resources it needs to maintain your muscles, then your body will be more okay with giving up muscle tissue to make up for that caloric deficit. Or if you're in that maintenance calories, it's not going to be as willing to grow muscle and get rid of some of that fat tissue to grow muscle. So it's really important that we give our body the resources it needs to maintain or grow our muscles. And this leads me to the final thing that you need to ensure that fat loss is going to happen. And that is resistance training. We need to use our muscles and push them close to failure to make them essential. And what that means is that they are being useful so our body doesn't want to give them up. And by training, we are going to be working them hard. And whenever our body goes through at the end of the day and decides what tissue to give up and what tissue needs to be prioritized, it's going to look through the body, it's going to look at your muscles. You've been working out hard, so your muscles say, hey, we're being useful. Like, we're being used, we have a purpose, and we're serving it. We don't need to go away. We're needed, right? So we're going to keep our muscle mass. And then when it gets to fat, fat does have some essential roles, but most people are at a much higher body fat percentage than what is essential. So there is a lot of leftover body fat that really isn't that important. And your body goes to the body fat and it goes, you're not really doing that much. You're just kind of sitting there, hanging out, and you've got a bunch of energy. So we're going to go ahead and break you down to make room for the new muscle. Or if you're in a caloric deficit, we're going to break you down to make sure that we can survive. Now, let's put it all together. Now that we know how fat loss works, how cardio works, and how it's irrelevant to the matter of fat loss, let's go ahead and put those 3 previous points into action. And we're going to go ahead and start with our calories and finding out how many calories we need to eat. So we're going to start by using a calorie calculator. In the description of this video, I'm going to put a link to a Google Sheet. Just go ahead and make a copy of it and put in your information. It's going to ask for your age, sex, height, weight, and activity level. Once you put this information in, it is going to tell you your maintenance calories, and it'll also give you different calories to eat if you want to lose, gain, or maintain weight. So once we have those numbers, we're going to want to eat at our maintenance calories, or I would opt for the option of losing about a pound a week. So 500 calorie deficit under that maintenance calories. And this is going to put us at a good range to, 1, if you're going to maintain your weight and do a little bit of recomposition, or 2, in a caloric deficit to lose weight and overall be a more efficient way to lose fat. Now that we have our calories, we do need to find out what proportion of macronutrients that we need to be eating to prioritize fat loss. So in that same Google Sheet, it will also have a macronutrient calculator. If you enter in your calories, it'll go ahead and tell you the exact split of macronutrients that you need to eat. So just go ahead and follow what the sheet tells you, and you will have the right amount of macronutrients that you need to ensure fat loss. And you can play with the carbs and the fats a little bit, but the protein is a priority. That is a non-negotiable. Now, the last part of this is, how do we structure our resistance training to make sure that we are either maintaining our muscle mass or that we are building muscle if we're doing a maintenance? This part is actually really super simple. We're just going to want to go ahead and get in the gym 2 to 3 times a week. And each time we get in there, we'll want to do 1 set to failure or 1 rep before failure for each major muscle group. You can do compound movements to hit multiple muscle groups at once, so you don't have to spend as much time in the gym. This will make sure that our muscles are being used enough and they're getting used frequently enough to maintain our muscle mass, or in the case we're in maintenance, build some muscle mass and put a priority on it, so our body will get rid of some of the fat to make more room to put on new muscle mass. I hope that clears this up for you and shows you why cardio isn't important for fat loss and how to actually go about fat loss properly. And it would really mean a lot to me if you could like and subscribe this video if you got something out of it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day.